Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hey everyone, this is Meg.
Hi there, this is Heather.
And Happy New Year. This is our first podcast of 2022. So if you're listening to this real time, that's the time frame. Not that I think it matters. You can be listening to this a few years down the line and still hopefully you'll get amazing value out of this podcast. So what are we talking about today?
Well, today we wanted to do something a little bit different. We have talked about how to use oils. We've gone through quite a few oils. If anybody has noticed, we've been going in alphabetical order for our oils that we've been talking about. But today we wanted to do something a little bit different. So you might be wondering, okay, I've learned about these oils, but why doTERRA? Why do you guys specifically talk so much about doTERRA? And I think we both have similar but different reasons for that. So I think we should talk about that today.
All right. I think that's a great plan. So we'll start with you, Heather. Why doTERRA for you versus any other brand of essential oils?
For me, it was really the heart of the company. I think that when I think about the 7 founders that wanted something better than what they could find on the market, and when they wanted something better, they were willing to forego investors so that they didn't have to change their integrity and they could really seek out the purest product that they could find. And I love the slogan of wanting to help from both sides of the bottle, because to me, they've really worked hard on that. From behind the bottle, the fact that they want to raise up as many farmers across the world in these third world countries that don't have much and are potentially not getting paid fairly. They really wanted to make sure that these people were able to get ahead in life by paying them fairly, giving them jobs. So working with the small batch farmers from that side of it was just amazing to me. But at the same time, making sure that the oils were as pure as possible for the other side of the bottle, people like us that are purchasing the oils. We want them to do exactly what we expect the oils to do from a health benefit standpoint. And so they're making sure that these people are benefiting from an income standpoint, and then we're benefiting from a health standpoint. And then also on that note, the Healing Hands Foundation, their charitable organization, just really being able to help as many people from that standpoint too, building schools, just all kinds of
water
things.
wells, hospitals,
oh my goodness,
amazing things.
And when there's a natural disaster, they hand out these emergency kits that have like 3 days worth of hygiene stuff in it. I mean, just so many things that they are wanting to make a positive impact on the world. And I love that. And I appreciate that. And I think you can really feel that as a company. You know, I can't go to the store and just pick an oil up off of the shelf and absolutely, you know, get that same feeling of any of those things out of the bottle. But with doTERRA, I just know that that is going to be every single bottle, every single time. And I love it and I appreciate it. And I will continue to be loyal to them.
Yeah. I love all of that. A few things as you're talking, because this might be brand new news for people who are listening to know that there is the other side of the bottle and the emphasis on how we treat the people who source to us. But doTERRA has some amazing resources. So if you want to learn more about this, they do documentary style movies. I don't know.
Yeah, YouTube videos, which are amazing, short and sweet. Yes.
Yeah. And so there's so many oils that you can look up and see the story behind it. So like the vetiver one is one of my personal favorites, where they're talking about going out there and getting vetiver, and the area where we source our vetiver. It's in Haiti, but it was an area that had no clean water for people to drink. And so people would have to walk like many miles just to get drinking water. And because doTERRA is, you know, boots on the ground, they know what's going on. They recognize that as an issue right away. And so just to help the people who are farming our vetiver, they started building water wells in that area. And then they realized that, you know, the kids weren't getting educated. And so built a school in that area. I think they've built hospitals there too. And it's beautiful to see how much we care for the farmers. And so those videos are really amazing. The frankincense one is really, really beautiful as well. Talking about Somaliland and how most companies will not even go there because it's such a dangerous place to work. But number one, it has the purest and best form of frankincense. But number two, the people there really need help. And for them to be able to give women in that area a living wage. And it's cool too. They don't just pay them with money, but they also pay them with things like goats, because in that area, that's super important. And so like understanding the cultures that they're working with is just beautiful as well.
Well, and ultimately treating these people like partners. They're not using them for their resources and trying to take all of their resources and mistreating them. They are really trying to honor the land and trying to make sure that these farmers have the opportunity to be as sustainable as possible, but also make sure that these farmers are living a good life too, and bringing up as many people in those communities. And it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And every time I hear them talk about these things, or even some of those little videos, will just bring me to tears. Same. Because yay, for all of the bad that's in the world, there really is good stuff going on behind the scenes too. And I'm so proud to be connected to a company that is doing these things.
Yeah, me too. So one of my favorite things at convention every year, they normally dedicate a day to basically focusing on this. And I still remember the very first time I went to convention. I feel like I'm choking up just talking about this memory. Sorry, I'm a crier. But the having all of these people, they had all the different farmers, and it wasn't all the farmers we work with, but they had farmers from like 50 different nationalities, 50 different countries come out holding their flag, and they all stood in a circle, and then they like passed the mic and shared just the impact that doTERRA's had on their lives. Why am I such a mess?
No, because that's so good. It was
so beautiful. And that was the first time like it really hit me, the impact that doTERRA has. And yeah, it was beautiful.
Well, and I don't know if everybody knows this or recognizes this, but part of the reason they're in these countries is because the plant where we source the oil from grows best in certain parts of the world. And so doTERRA, unlike a lot of other companies, have really made sure to get the oil sourced from the part of the world where the plant grows best, so that it has the most health benefits. A lot of companies, I think, struggle to do that. I'm sure that's a difficult thing. And again, you're still wanting to maintain your purity. So you're making sure that you're working with farmers that aren't putting a lot of chemicals and stuff onto the plants. So you want to find the purest farmers that are doing the purest practices. And that means that you're probably going to some remote, poor places sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is why they've really tried to impact those communities so that they can get those resources as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know there are some companies, some essential companies, who talk about and kind of brag about how they own all their own farms. And if you think about it from a quality assurance standpoint, that could mean that they have better control of purity and what's being put on it, but they're not impacting the world. And so the fact that doTERRA has layers to the way we source. So, we source in the place where things grow the best. We travel out to those places. But then the next level, we actually do the quality assurance to make sure that the oils meet our standards and don't have chemicals dumped on them. It's just really thoughtful too, that they have just these layers of quality assurance and purity assurance and ensuring, that things come from where they grow best. So I always think of avocados. Would you rather have avocados from Mexico or avocados from Canada? But if your avocado oil company is in Canada and you own the farms and that's what you want to brag about, like obviously your avocado oils are not going to be as effective as the ones from Mexico. I don't even know if you can grow avocados in Canada. I kind of doubt it, at least not naturally.
Yeah, you never know, right? Well, okay, so naturally is the hard part there too. But I don't want anybody to hear that you said something that in a way I think it can be construed as, well, they don't have as much control over quality. But just because they don't personally own these farms and the farmers own their farms, which is an amazing story too, when you hear these women that get to own farms that they are able to add land to year after year and grow the size of based on the payments that they're receiving from doTERRA. But that doesn't mean that we're cutting quality anywhere.
Right.
So we get the oil from them. It's distilled in, there's a couple of places throughout the world that I think it's distilled in, but then we're still running a whole battery of tests. I think more tests than any other company.
Correct.
To make sure that the oils are completely pure, nothing is added, and that it is exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And the testing part is really interesting too. So we do both internal testing and we do third-party testing. And so that's really rare. Most companies pick one or the other, but we make sure to do both. So the internal testing ensures that we're meeting our standards, but the third-party testing makes it real clear that we're not being, fudging the numbers or anything like that. And then on top of that, doTERRA is the only company that gives everyone access to every test result. So at the bottom of every one of doTERRA's essential oils, there is a number, and you can go to the website. Is it Source to You?
It's Source to You.
Okay.
I'm guessing .com. I'll look it up while you're talking.
I'm pretty sure it's .com as well. And then from there, you can type in the number and it will pull up every one of those chemistry tests that was done to check for purity. And that's unheard of. But not only does it give full transparency, but it also goes to prove so many of the big essential oil companies have been accused and had to pay big lawsuits because they falsify what's in their oils. So an example, there's a very, very big oil company that got sued within the last, I want to say 5 years, because they were selling lemongrass oil, which at least from doTERRA's standpoint, I think lemongrass is under $15, but they were marketing it as Melissa, which again, from the doTERRA standpoint is over $100. I don't know what that company charges, but clearly a huge difference in price. And they knew what they were doing, and the court was able to prove that they knew what they were doing, but there's no transparency. And so for doTERRA to provide that level of transparency where if you're spending $100 on Melissa, for sure it's Melissa. And you can see both internally and then third-party testing proving that it is Melissa and that it meets all of our quality standards.
And it was sourcetoyou.com is that website.
Okay. Awesome.
So what about you? I know we've kind of talked back and forth about a couple of the points, but what is your why doTERRA? Do you have other points as well?
Yeah, the other side of the bottle, the testing definitely were the two things that drew me in first. But as I have been with doTERRA for a while and specifically doing the business part really is the third big reason why. So doTERRA is a network marketing company. And it was the first one to flip on its head the way that they do the multi-level payouts. So the way multi-level marketing companies, all of them used to be, is they were set up in a way where when you would sign somebody up, then they would go under you and then the next person would go under them. And doTERRA does the same thing, but the way that they pay, doTERRA pays more the lower down somebody is, whereas the way most companies do it is they pay the most at the people who are on your front line. And when you pay the most for the people who are on your front line, then it creates competition, which can be good from a business standpoint to have people competing to be better with each other. But doTERRA specifically chose to flip that on its head. So instead of competition, it creates community. It creates, where people are working together towards a common goal. And so it's a whole shift in the way that people work together. I mean, even you and I being on this podcast, if we were in a typical network marketing company, you and I would be competitors. And instead, because we're in the same line, we actually work together. We both benefit by working together. And so this mentality is amazing. But then also because they pay more the further down you place somebody, it also ends up being where you make way more money. So doTERRA does have the most generous compensation plan because of that, because there is no cap. And there's literally no cap. So my understanding is that there are doTERRA wellness advocates who are making more than the founders because there is literally no cap. There's, it's your business. You have control of how much money you make based on how much you want to work for it. Maybe I should be working for it more.
Well, and I am not necessarily money motivated. Yes, that is helpful and we need that to live life and it is a positive thing. But at the same time, I am definitely more drawn by the community. Part of the reason you and I started this podcast was because we enjoyed educating, and the way we educated has changed over the last couple of years, because when COVID happened, we had to move completely online. And that was fun at first. And we had good attendance. And I think people enjoyed it. And it was something to do because everybody was stuck at home. But as that year progressed, people obviously got really tired of being on the computer, us included. And I think we were ready to just get back in person. But yet in person doesn't quite look the same as it did previously yet either. And so for you and I, this was an easy way for us to get to talk about products that we love, and yet also be able to educate to a broader audience and be able to share the information that we know and have learned and absolutely love talking about. And the community part of that is huge to me. I feel like we regularly have calls with an entire team. You know, our upline will host a call. And like you said, normally these people would all be our competitors, but we're all talking and troubleshooting and giving ideas because we're all working together. And the greater good is, yes, I think people want to be successful in their business, but just like doTERRA's greater good, the goal is to get as many bottles of oil into people's home for their own health benefits. Like, yes, it benefits us financially, but the goal is not necessarily my finances, but you to have a better outcome with your health and tools to be able to empower yourself with daily things that you can be successful with. That to me is so much more powerful than the money alone. And I know people are driven by different things. So the compensation plan is a woohoo for a lot of people. But I think my main goal is to really just introduce the products to as many people as possible so that they can get the benefits that me and my family have been able to get as well.
Yeah. One of our upline, their tagline is, and their vision is a healer in every home. And I mean, they have built a huge part of the US market is under them because their vision is so strong. And what an amazing vision that is to have somebody in every single home in the US that knows how to use these natural products to help heal their family is just
I have chills.
Yes.
Yes. And it's possible. There is no reason. These are not ridiculously expensive. Obviously, Melissa is more expensive than lemongrass, but at the same time, Melissa is something that I have used quite regularly and is well worth its value for sure, but it's not a daily oil for me. So I don't think new people need to get in and immediately buy Melissa unless there's something that they were specifically seeking it for health reasons. You can get in to using oils with doTERRA for fairly inexpensive and be able to reap all of the health benefits really quickly. So I don't think that this needs to be something that people are scared of jumping into, like, oh, I'm going to have all these oils to treat all these things. You really don't. I mean, you and I have chosen to get a lot of different oils because we love them for all of their different benefits, but you really don't need many oils to get started and to treat a whole lot of things all at once. I mean, to me, tea tree, lavender, peppermint, frankincense, you can pretty much cover a lot of things with those couple of oils.
Yep. Totally agree. Did you throw in peppermint? Yeah, you did say peppermint. Yeah.
In my head, I did. Whether or not I said
I think you did.
I don't know.
I think you did. Yeah. Donald and I were talking last night because, of course, I've got a nutrition business as well, and I'm figuring out the pricing for 2022. And because I'm changing things around and doing packaging, but we were talking about how amazing it is that, sure, not everybody is going to be able to afford a multi-$1,000, work one-on-one to get your bio-individual needs for nutrition figured out. But everybody could probably afford a peppermint oil.
Right.
And the life-changing benefits of peppermint just for your digestion alone, plus focus and energy and, making your coffee taste good. Like there's so many different benefits to peppermint. It's kind of cool to be able to offer people something that's, $20 or something that's $5,000, and where everybody can be impacted. And that's really exciting.
Yes. And, I've talked before about what I've got to purchase with my loyalty rewards points. But while we're talking about why doTERRA, I feel like this is relevant to this conversation too. even as a customer, you can participate in the loyalty rewards program. And it basically is implying that you are going to be purchasing this monthly box that you can customize.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I love the most about it is that the longer you're on the loyalty rewards program, the more points that you get back. So it starts at 10%, I think. And so you get 10% of the purchases that you spend, those points, you get them back in doTERRA dollars that sit in your account and you can cash in when you want to. And then every quarter, I think it goes up 5% until when you've been part of the loyalty rewards for, I think, over 13 months, you're earning back 30% in points.
Yeah. Which 30%. Is huge.
I mean, I feel like every time I see how many points I earn from each order, that we were going to be spending the money anyways, buying the products, whether it's supplements or, shampoo, toothpaste, oils. I feel like we were spending that money anyways. And so to be able to earn points back on it, thinking about buying these oils at, the store, I go to the store, I purchase it. It may be cheaper, but I'm not earning any points back on it.
You're not.
doTERRA, I feel like I end up getting so many free products down the road just from the points of purchases that I've already made. That is a huge win for me.
Totally agree. All right. Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of topics. Hopefully people have been able to follow our train of thought here. But yeah, clearly we have lots of strong opinions on why we use doTERRA oils, work with doTERRA, are passionate about doTERRA. Hopefully that came across in this podcast for you guys. Anything else?
No, I think I'd like to mention again that we are on Instagram. We've got the Bottle Poppin' Podcast as an Instagram page, and then it connects to each of our individual pages. Please feel free to reach out to us if you ever have any questions about anything, because again, we love talking about this stuff. So if there's something that we brought up that you want to know a little bit more information about, just feel free to reach out to us and we can answer any questions for you too.
Yeah, great point. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for listening. Hopefully you have an amazing 2022 and continue to listen to our podcast every week. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.